Coriander, as you know, is also called cilantro, which is the Spanish word for coriander. And it's the second most crucial botanical after the juniper berries. Coriander is a strange animal because it's also a herb and a spice at the same time, and it comes from the same family as the carrot. It's one of the, sorry Nick, and again, okay, so the history of coriander. It is one of the earliest spices used by man, traced back to about 5,000 years BC. In fact, coriander seeds were put in urns in the Egyptian pyramids, in the tombs. It was also used by the Romans and the Greeks as a medicine, same as the majority of the botanicals we hear about today, and it was used as a stimulant and an aphrodisiac. So it's quite handy to have. So where is coriander produced? It's grown all over the world, but mainly in southern and eastern Europe, North Africa, Southwest Asia, especially India. And it's an annual plant. And there are two types of coriander. One is called a macrocarpum, which has a huge seed, about 3 to 5 millimetres each, and they're mainly grown in India, and they're used for spices for your cooking. The microcarpum is grown here in Europe. It's much smaller, it's only 1.5 to 3 millimetres across, and has a much more intensive amount of oils inside it. The larger seeds have 0.1 to 0.4% of oil. The smaller seeds, 0.4 to 1.8% of oil. And this is crucial for us as gin distillers. We want lots and lots of essential oils. My view, the best producing area is Bulgaria. Basically, I've just come back from there after doing my shopping for next year's coriander. It has a much higher oil content than other European producing areas. So, the production starts in February, March. The coriander is planted, and after 3 weeks, the plants will emerge. The growing season for coriander is about 140 days, and during that time, the plant will reach between 50 and 80 centimetres. And they're harvested by using a small combine harvester. It's quite rough and ready. They're just ripped out of the ground. Each plant will hold about 300 seeds, and of those seeds they are split, it's a bit of a pun, but split between whole seeds and half seeds or split seeds. The split seeds then go back in for replanting the plants. The whole seeds are what we're after. You can see, you can see that you have split and whole seeds and debris as well from the ground as they're harvested. Okay. Rather a wonderful piece of kit. The most important thing for us is to separate those three items, the splits, the whole seeds and the debris, and they're put into a cylindrical separator, which is very old-fashioned, and basically the whole seeds will fall out of the bottom. But there is further work to be done after this process. If you can go to the next one. So this is the whole seeds, the odd split in there, and to the next one, Nick, please. This is a brutal piece of equipment. This is a grader, so the seeds will come in, fed into the grader, and they will be graded down to individual sizes, because some of the seeds on the plant won't have matured, they're too small. So what we're aiming for is a very uniform size of seeds. Now, how does it come into London Dry Gin? Well, as you can see, it's a very small seed, so we need huge volumes of it. Tens of thousands of tonnes, in fact, for the UK. And this year's crop, sorry gentlemen, is about half what it normally is. So coriander is very hard to get hold of for next year. It gives us dry and slightly bitter spice to a gin, as opposed to a sweeter spice that you would get from something like cassia bark or from cinnamon bark. And it acts as a counterbalance against the juniper. As Charles said, juniper is the predominant flavour, doesn't get taken over by anything else, but you need the coriander in just to keep the juniper down a little bit. Therefore, some gins will have a higher coriander content, which when you add angelica root, for example, gives a very dry gin, which some parts of the world love. Or you can have a lower coriander content with a higher juniper content, throw in a bit of citrus, and that gives a much sweeter offering. So the options are endless by balancing out those two ingredients. So in summary, it gives us many options on the styles of gin that we produce. And it is crucial to the UK's premium spirit, London Dry Gin. Thank you very much for your attention.